what's going on YouTube? It's Donnie P all day. I am bringing you, my mascots, I am bringing you a versus today between two really, really great carries, but one has got to be the better carry. Just one. Now, it's kind of hard because these are both very used edges. This one is well more used than this one. This thing is used, I mean, a lot more. But we're going to go through them all and figure it all out. Anyway, let's go over some of the specs first. We will start with the Bush Ranger Lite by Cold Steel. That is the CRKT Batum. It's in the description, I'm pretty sure. I would put that down. All right, so let's go over this thing. Weight, 5.2 ounces. The blade thickness is 3.8, so it's just under 4 millimeters. It is 8CR13 MOV. Both knives share the same steel, so it's going to be pretty cool, or pretty similar. Well, not pretty similar. It is. It's the same damn steel. So we have a handle length of 4 7/8 inches. Very, very nice. An overall length of 8 3/8 inches. The blade length range is, well, it's between, it says between 3 and 5, but it is exactly, I think, 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 inch blade. Ambidextrous, blah, blah, blah. Folder, blah, blah, blah. Clip point, blah, blah, blah. And the handle material is GFN plastic. All right, so it is a spine lock. All right, so here we have the Batum. And the Batum, boom. The Batum, let's go over everything. Okay, so the blade length is 3.16. Well, that one's 3.5. This one's just over 3.25. The blade thickness on this one, however, is 4.75. That's almost 5 millimeters thick in a folding knife with a blade under 4 inches. Ooh, squeezing cough. All right, so overall length of 8 inches, satin finish, closed length of 4.77, so a little over 4 3/4 inches. Designed by Jesper Voxnays. Let's see, it is a thumb hole opening, ambidextrous. It is a frame lock. Somebody on this, on Smoky Mountain Knife Works, put it as a liner lock. Well, that is not a liner lock. So, like I said, same steel, and that's it. So, and, oh, G10, sorry, G10 scales. So now, let's go over these two. We'll start with the clip side. Obviously, this one's a frame lock. This one is a spine lock. And you can see just the mass amount of knife that's in this one. The CRKT is just absolutely beastly. It's a big, thick. A lot of people own these. And if you own these, you know that it's a pretty girthy knife. It's pretty thick and pretty stout and pretty sturdy. This one, man alive. That is pretty sweet. So the pocket clip itself, they're both medium pocket clips. This one's smaller than this one, but you can see that they pretty much have the same belt hold because this one's longer in the up clip where this one is not. So that really doesn't matter. That's going to be pretty equal. I have to say, though, this one's easier to get on and off. Cold Steel makes a lot of really tight pocket clips where it's like rip your damn pocket getting them on and off. Now, as far as the handle, this plastic versus this G10 with steel side, no comparison. This is a really cheap plasticky feel. They're kind of crappy as far as feel. They're well textured and they're strong, no doubt about it, but they feel really freaking cheap. I mean, you put it in your hand and it feels like, okay, this is a $10 knife, right? But it's built well. It's built very, very well, and it's well textured, so you're going to get a grip even on this crappy plastic stuff. This G10, however, again, well textured, very well textured, and super nice, man. It is super, super nice. As far as opening and closing, the CRKT is much easier to open, and it is a very simple one-handed close. This one you can close one-handed. You just have to be careful to go kind of slow. Let's try this hand. You have to go kind of slow because you don't want it to swing down and cut your finger. But it's kind of a pain in the butt doing it that way. So here's your open. Your close is just better off to do with two hands. Pivot for pivot. This one is a very smooth, very tight pivot. This one is a very smooth, very openable pivot. You can tell, especially in the snap, that's not going anywhere if you try and snap open. Where this one, you can get a nice snap open. It will work. Once the blade is open, what do you have here? Right here, you have a finger well inside of the plastic that you can put your finger in, and it does work. It really does work. Your finger, however, will touch right here in the ricasso, which is a little sharp. You go too far, you're going to cut yourself. Not this guy. This guy has a full-sized manhole finger well choil, and that is really, really nice. This one, because it's a slope right here, you can slip off of it. This one, there's no chance. No chance you're ever leaving it. Once you put your thumb on the top, this offers a really, really nice amount of steel to put your thumb on. This just offers more. I have to say that construction for construction, the CRKT is a far superior knife when it comes to construction. When it comes to how it's built, this thing is so much just, you put it in your hand, you open it, you close it, and you feel the difference. Right? A lot of people who own the cold steels are going to say, oh, that's bold, blah, blah, blah. But it's because they don't own the other one. Right? And a lot of people that own this would agree with it. But it's hard to understand that this is not cheap if you don't own it. If you're just saying, oh, yeah, it's plastic and blah, blah, blah. It's not as thick. It's not as this. It's not as that. Doesn't matter. Overall length, the cold steel gets the overall length because of the blade. Right? It's from ricasso to ricasso. You can line them up even, and you just get that extra ½ inch in blade length. What does that mean for the knife? It just means it's longer, right? It just means it's longer. So now these are both everyday carries, right? This one is an everyday carry that's kind of more made for everyday carry as far as camp everyday carry, where this one is everyday carry for everyday carry everywhere. This one has this thing right here. And what that is a lock. You press that and you can't press that. You pull that backwards this way, and then you do the same thing, push it up, possibly push it up, there you go, and now it won't open. So it's supposed to stop you from having accidental opens, accidental closes. Let me tell you something about this. Is not the triad lock, but it's still a spine lock from Cold Steel. I have never had one of these accidentally close without this thing, ever. I've never had one of these accidentally open without this stupid little thing, ever. This is just another little thing that they make in there to try and be like, ooh, check this out, fancy little gadget. Makes you spend more money. That's all it is. How much money are they? I don't know. I know this one is definitely sub 50. I think this one is too, as a matter of fact. Let's see. The Batum. All right. So I did not know this. On Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Right now it's out of stock, and there's a reason. Because they have it for $25 right now. I know that, like, when they came out, I know that the what do you call it? The price, the MSRP was around closer to 50, 40 or 50, somewhere in there, $39.95 or somewhere in that range. But the last price they had these for, and it says email me when back in stock, on Smoky Mountain Knife Works, $24.99. I've seen other places where they're still in stock, and it's like $30 somewhere in there. That is dirt cheap for a knife like this that can compete with any $500 package, right? You get a lot of these $500 knives, big, thick, frame locks, blah, blah. Everything is exactly the same, but it has a super steel. This steel right here, I carry this a lot. This is one of my main go-to carries. You see that edge? That's original. It's original. It's never been touched. So people can, super steel all they want, but with a good heat treat, I use this thing a lot. Show me where it's wrong. Show me how it's bad. You can't. So all the blade snobs out there and the people who really think they know what they're talking about, who absolutely haven't got a clue what they're talking about, the steel is going to be just fine for you. Same as this. You can look. I may have run this one just across a strop. I think that's it, to bring back the edge. But this one I have used a lot less than this one. But the price on the Bush Ranger Lite, I got it on cold steel, and it's $54.99. So $55 right now. They're selling this. Right now they're selling this for, you can get it around $30. So price point for price point, this is a better price point. It's also a better value. It's just, I'm not going to lie, it's just a better knife. Before we even do anything with it, I'm going to tell you straight up, it's a better knife. It doesn't come with little hiccups right here that say, ooh, look at me, I'm special, so that's why I should buy it. No, it's just a great knife. This is not less of a great knife as far as, is it a great knife? It's still a great knife. Just not as nice as this. All right, so let's go out and cut a few things. Now, because they're both very used edges, we're not going to do some of the normal stuff we do, some of the absolute sharpness tests. And if we do a sharpness test, we're just not going to have the same sharpness results. But you're still going to be able to see that the knife, even very, very well used, is still a badass. Let's get these out in the sun. And you can see the cold steel. Right? Now, design for design, I'm not going to lie, this one is far more attractive. Far more attractive. It's more comfortable. It's just a nicer knife. It's just a nicer knife. But the ergonomics on the Batum are so much better. So much better. It's, until you put it in your hand, it's hard to explain. It's just a really good knife. All right, so let's go out to the stump. I'll let you know when we get there. Okay, so we're going to start this one with a couple just downward throws. That one came back and bit me. I totally missed. I hit the edge, but guess what? It didn't close. Oh, I hit the edge again. You know what the problem is? I need a new stump, and all this is mush. So I'm hitting here, and it's just boing. This one went in all kinds of crazy. Let's try and hit it straight this time. Boom, boom. All right, so bite for bite, they both, oh man, that went, wow. That went, I mean, it's mushy wood, but it went all the way to here. That's pretty good. This guy went all the way to there. So you're getting good bite. This one, obviously a clip point, and boom, boom, boom. I'm hitting them, I'm throwing them. I'm putting a little mustard into the throw. And sorry if that made anybody hungry for hot dogs. I'm going to throw it a little harder. Bam. The lock is actually on because once you throw it, the damn lock collapses all by itself. There's nothing you can do about that unless you tape it. That one doesn't have a lock, right? But no matter how hard I throw it, it doesn't collapse, right? So now let's see if we can, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this because this lock just moves on its own. I can't stand it. But all right, those are pretty hard whacks. Didn't close on me. I don't want to. Here we go. Here we go. I hit that one even a little bit harder just because it doesn't have a little lock, just to prove to you that you don't need those stupid little locks. Both of them are going to work out fine. Look at this dent that I just put in that. I was hitting it. I was hitting it really good. So after doing that, what has it affected? Nothing? Oh, imagine that. What has it affected? Nothing. Oh, imagine that. So both knives have extremely great locks. I just tested a few that were sent to me from Brandon over at Thrasher's Garage. And by way of Scabber over at Choir Boys Cutlery Outdoors. Wow, that's a soft spot. Choir Boys Cutlery Outdoors. And the $500 to $700 knives, blah, 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 they felt a lot like this and performed equal to both of these. I mean, same performance. The difference is between these two is this one is just easier to open and close. It's got a great punch to it. The operation of this knife is just really nice. Now this is used a lot. It is dead nut centered, and it takes some abuse because I'm not so gentle, right? This one, dead centered, right? These are knives both under $100, one of them under $50, and you know, they're just going to perform. Let's try 4 layers of leather belt with a used edge. No problem. 4 layers of leather belt and a very used edge. No problem. They just cut, right? I think that one I shortened it too, but look at that. No problem. No problem. It's just gonna work. Push cuts. I don't know if this thing, I haven't done anything to this edge ever. And oh, that I just totally missed. And let's see. Oh, CR13's cheap. You'll never blah, 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 blah. It'll never hold an edge. Blah, 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 blah. Shut up. All right, so let's try it with this guy. All right, so they both cut. I do have to say that this one, even used more, cut a little bit easier than the cold steel. The CRKT definitely went through with less pressure, but they both got through it. They both got through it, no problem. They're both just cutters. It's what they do. Now, let's try the extension cord chop. It's really hard to do with a folding knife because you don't get that momentum, but we'll see if we can get anything anyway. Bam! Took off the end completely clean. CR13 MOV. Hey, it's got a heat treat. That's the good thing. Let's try this one. Now, this one does have a nice little flip right here. While it's pretty slick, it does give me a little hold, so it should be all right. And it did pop it. No problem. Nice and clean. Nice and freaking clean. All right, so we got the tire over here. Got a lot of cuts in it, but let's bring you guys a lot closer. All right, so CRKT. That one's got a nice big fat tip. It went through, but it didn't go through very deep. We'll try again. And that's the same thing. It goes through, not very deep, but it does have a round tip. Clip point, this one should just cruise. It didn't really cruise right through. It barely made it a little farther than the other one, but they're both nice thick blades, and both of them would have let the air out. This one you will never bend the tip on. That is a big fat tip. It is fat. But let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else. So we have just the ability to use it as your EDC. Again, like I say, this one would be more of a woodsman's EDC kind of thing, like your secondary blade. If you're going out camping, this thing is going to feather, it's going to peel, it's going to get all that stuff done as it's designed to, right? So you can see right here, it has really good edge geometry. It's gonna pull through the wood nice and easy. Getting a lot of wind right now, but you can see it's just a simple carver. This guy right here, once I drop it and pick it up, you have so much to grab on here because it's so wide. It feels really nice. Look at that curl. All right, so maybe this one has much nicer edge geometry. I forget sometimes how nice the edge geometry on this is. It's just a really sweet blade, man. Everything about this knife is just done well. Everything. There's nothing to complain about. And as a designer, I love finding things to complain about because it just, you know what I mean? The reason I design knives the way I design them is because I first draw something and then I complain about it to myself and say, nope, that's not right. And I change it. I change it until I have nothing to complain about. And that's how I like the design. So with this knife right here, if you said, hey, I'm going to bring you, we're bringing you a prototype and we want you to take a look at it and see what changes you would make. I wouldn't make any changes to this knife. Literally, I wouldn't make any changes. This knife is as good as a knife can be from the drawing board, right? I think this one's literally as good as it can be from the drawing board. I love every single thing about it. This knife, what would I change about it? Well, first of all, I would not add this stupid lock to it. Second of all, rather than this plastic, I might go with a G10. You throw a G10 on there, I think it changes a lot with this knife. I wouldn't change the thickness. I think it's appropriate for this knife, but I'd get rid of that crappy lock. I'd throw in a steel frame and I'd add G10. That's what I would do with this knife. And, you know, maybe right here, I would just change the shape of that. But who knows if it had a better texture, because you can see it's not textured in that area. It's just slick plastic. It's slick. Maybe edge this out a little bit more so you're not on the Picasso, because who's cutting from here? Nobody. Yeah, there's a few things worth changing design-wise on this knife. But all in all, it's still not a bad design. It's definitely something that could be changed, but not something that needs a complete work through. You know what I mean? Hold on. All right, so neither of these knives are throwers, but I'm going to back up a little bit. Oh, I can't believe it failed. Oh! All right, so the CRKT definitely threw a lot better, but it has that big fat tip. There we go. There we go. All right. First try on the second try. So tip for tip, you're going to get a lot more bite out of a clip point. The reason is because the clip point has nothing to do with this one's cold steel, this one's CRKT. If you put a drop point, a big thick drop point on a cold steel and a clip point on a CRKT, you'd have the same thing. Knife for knife though, if you guys are looking for a good EDC with a nice thick blade, and you want one of those companies that has a good reputation and that they're easy to find and that have, well, Cold Steel, you know, they can talk about their warranty and all this. Cold Steel customer service I've had a lot of problems with. They're a little bit tougher to deal with, and I haven't had to deal with the CRKT customer service, so I can't tell you if they're good or not. That's something I'm going to have to rely on people commenting that said, I had an issue with a CRKT and I had to turn it in. The blade is nice and stiff, throwing it, banging on it. The blade it's mostly stiff. There's a little bit of a wiggle in this guy, but this thing, man, this thing is just superb. So yeah, if I had to pick one of the two, I mean, it's not even like a, I would know, it would easily be the Batum. This thing is just remarkable. It is a remarkable mini tank. And if you use it for its intended purposes, like the only time I've ever taken this out for hard use is for videos. Normally I use this as an EDC and I just cut. I cut with it. You know, that what you're made to do with an EDC is what this knife gets used for. And I mean, you can see it's the finish is mostly pretty. It's not stunning anymore. I've got scratches in the front, but it's because it's used. I use this knife, and I have to say, this knife is fantastic. As much as I've used this, it's never used me, right? This thing has been great to me. This is a beautiful, beautiful piece, and I would highly recommend it. Does that mean I don't recommend this knife? Damn lock. No. I'll tell you straight out. If you want to spend $50 on a plastic handled knife, this is the plastic handled knife maybe to spend $50 on. It's a really good knife. Are there things I would love to change on this knife? Absolutely. But would it work no matter what? Every day. This knife will work every single day for you. That is without question. I am not knocking Cold Steel. I am not knocking this knife. I'm just telling you, knife for knife, which is the better knife. And I'm saying that because I own both and I use both. As a matter of fact, I had some shorts with this one the other day because it was in my pocket for 2 days. So it's something that I still carry, I still use. I just carry and use this one more, point blank. And the reason is because it's better. It's just better. So I know you get a lot of fanboys out there. Oh, bullshit. You're talking, but Cold Steel's great, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, this is a great knife. It's just not as great as this knife. Just the way it is. Just the way it is from somebody who owns both and uses both. Don't listen to people who will talk up one thing and down another thing without ever having touched that thing that they're downing. Just doesn't work that way. So yeah, definitely if I have to pick one, it's going to be the CRKT Batum. Freaking-tastic knife. Love it. Does that mean I would never walk out of the house with this? I still walk out of the house with this. All right, so that's it for this one. Hi, I'm Dottie B all day. Until next knife.